Coming to you from deep inside the bowels of a great big empty. Get ready for another episode of The Home Defense Show with Skip Correia.
And that was Golden Glenn, the official announcer of the Home Defense Show, and I'm your host, Skip Correia, author of 22 books, Marine Corps veteran, founder of the Second Amendment March, proud father of 7, grandfather to 19 and counting, and as a special bonus, I'm also madly in love with my own wife. My priorities in life are God, family, and country, in that order, and I hereby promise to never compromise in my convictions. I may go broke, but I'll never go woke. And of course, joining me today is my faithful co-host and adoring wife, Sara Correia. Sara, you've been feeling under the weather lately. How are things for you right now?
I think we jinxed it last time when we talked about the red cabbage. That's my theory.
You know, I had forgotten that we talked about that, but apparently the red cabbage can't defeat every single virus or bacteria.
No. Or God has a sense of humor, too.
Well, that's all true. Actually, I'm eating the red cabbage now, too.
Is it helping?
Oh, well, it's helping me out on my diet because it's like there's not negative calories in red cabbage, but there's not very many calories in red cabbage, and it takes a long time to eat it.
Yes, it does.
Because you have to chew it up, you know? I mean, geez, it's like, eating your lawn, basically. But, it's like 66 calories for a cup of red cabbage, and
there's phytonutrients. I mean, it does. I like it.
Phytonutrients.
Dr. Gundry talks about them all the time. I don't know.
Phytonutrients.
Yeah.
Well, God bless phytonutrients. So happy to have them. I'd rather have
nutrients, macronutrients,
a pound of chocolate.
Yeah, macronutrients.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I hope that you're feeling better next week.
Thank you. I hope so too.
Well,
the kids, because I still can't go anywhere if the kids are sick. So.
Yeah. Well, I was sick a few weeks ago, and I guess I'm the one that brought it back to the family, so I apologize on
good family. We share all the things. Yeah.
That's right. We're very close that way, aren't we?
Yeah.
All right, Sara, so what's on the show today?
Well, today we're talking to YouTube sensation John Correia all about his journey to physical fitness. Then in the shootingclasses.com self-defense report, we'll be speaking with Attorney Deron Boring about a comical and sad self-defense scenario in our shootingclasses.com self-defense report.
Yeah, you're going to like John Correia. I interviewed him, I think for the first time, probably, I don't know, maybe 6-7 years ago, and we brought him here to Michigan to speak a couple of times. Super guy. Used to be a pastor in Phoenix, but he's got a good story. And then Deron Boring, he's anything but boring, by the way, from Ohio. We've got a really funny segment 3 for you, so you want to stick around for that. But before we get too far into the show, let's thank our sponsors, United States Concealed Carry Association, shootingclasses.com, Center Shot Indoor Gun Range, and Apple Tree Media. So what's in the news today, Sara? We've got an upcoming event right here in Michigan, don't we?
Yes, we have a national self-defense celebrity, Stephen Williford. Come and hear the testimony of this hero, Stephen Williford, who lived near the church, grabbed his own gun, and ran out barefoot from his house. He is coming to Southwest Michigan. You can hear his story at St. Mary's Visitation Church in Byron Center, Michigan.
Yeah, I'm excited about this guy coming. I interviewed him, must have been 4 or 5 years ago, on Front Lines of Freedom, the military talk radio show. Good guy, just a plumber of all things, a plumber. But if you don't recognize Stephen's name, he was in the news, I think it was in 2017, the Sutherland Springs Church Massacre in Texas. A man came in and murdered 26 men, women, and children. And it was just horrific. This guy shot up this church with around almost 500 rounds. And he just executed everybody. And Stephen heard the gunshots down the road, ran to his gun safe, got his AR, got a magazine, ran out there in his bare feet, ran to the church and caught the guy as he was exiting the church, and they had a gunfight right there in the church lawn. Stephen shot him twice in the left chest and in the leg. The guy got in his car and took off, and then Stephen met a guy, Johnny Langford, I think was the guy's name. And he jumped into the guy's car and they took off after him, a 95-mile-an-hour chase. But Stephen's going to be there, and he's going to tell the story there, along with a bunch of other stuff that's happening. It's from, 6 to 8:30 on May 6th, I believe. So that's, you can go to centershotgunrange.com, and you can see all the information there, and you can sign up and get tickets and all of that. It's a good
Sounds like
romantic
it's
evening
gonna be great.
for me and my wife. So, and you'll get to meet and talk to Stephen Williford. So
Great.
it's all good. We'll be interviewing Stephen about the middle of April before he comes here. So you'll hear more about it. And now it's time for our home defense show, Hero of the Week. Who's our hero this week, Sarah?
Our self-defense show, Hero of the Week, is a father from Delaware who saved his daughter from a vicious dog attack. From Seaboard, Delaware, the victim of a brutal dog attack in Seaford is out of the hospital and back home. Ty Cuffey was attacked by 3 mixed-breed dogs on March 5th. On Wednesday, March 20th, we sat down with Cuffey and learned about his heroic act that quite possibly saved the life of his daughter. It was in his driveway where Cuffey made a decision any good father would, getting between his stepdaughter and 3 dogs that were ready to attack. On March 5th, Cuffey was at home when a neighbor came over and asked his oldest stepdaughter to help corral their escaped pets. I just heard the dog, 1 or 2 of the dogs, barking aggressively, and the father in me just kicked in, said Cuffey. I chucked everything else and go to make sure everything is fine. When Cuffey walked out front, he saw one of the dogs in an attack position. I told her, just get away from him, and I got between her and the dog, said Cuffey. That's when the dog lunged at me. The first one lunged at me, and then everything else from that point is just a blur. Cuffey woke up 3 days later as his breathing tube was being removed. I truthfully thought that I was in the back of the ambulance, and it was later on that Tuesday evening when I got the thing out of my throat. First thing I did was holler, "Thank you, Jesus," because I knew I had made it through the attack, said Cuffey. Now Cuffey is back at home with his kids and his wife, Courtney, who he said has been his saving grace. The staples in his head were removed on Wednesday, but his legs and ear will take some more time to heal. Despite his injuries and the looming road to recovery, Cuffey knows he made the right decision. Overall, both goals were accomplished. I saved my daughter, and they took me down. They didn't take me out, but they took me down, said Cuffey.
Sarah, I got a chance to watch the interview from the news channel where they were talking to this man, Cuffey. This guy, he must have weighed 300 pounds.
Whoa.
A really tall, big man.
Burly.
And this dog mauled him in both of his legs and all over his head and face. He wasn't disfigured at all, but he had all kinds of staples and stitches in him. And boy, just, like a month still after the attack, he was walking with a walker. It was really
a walker, not just a cane.
It was sad. It was really sad, but he stepped up. He did what he had to do.
All 3 dogs or just 2?
All 3 dogs. Yeah.
Brother.
All 3 dogs attacked him. And, he basically had no defense against them, but he sacrificed himself for his daughter, which you can't get a whole lot more heroic than that.
No, that's heroic. It is. Brave.
Yeah. Well, that goes to show you, I mean, all the dogs are a double-edged sword. Last week, our hero of the week was a dog, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So dogs are, in that regard, they're really no different than humans. Humans can be good or they can be bad. Dogs can be good or they can be bad.
Mm-hmm.
You have to treat dogs on a case-by-case basis.
Absolutely.
That's all there is to it. And the better the training, the better the dog.
Yep. But great job to Cuffey. Very brave.
Cuffey from Delaware. Good job, and we hope you heal quickly.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, Sarah, what's coming up next?
Next, we are talking to YouTube sensation John Correia all about his journey to physical fitness. Then, in the shootingclasses.com self-defense report, we'll be speaking with Attorney Deron Boring about a comical and sad self-defense scenario in our shootingclasses.com self-defense report.
All right, we got a great show coming up, so you don't want to miss it. In the meantime, God bless and stay safe. We will be right back.
Firearms training should be easy. Instructors can focus on teaching and not worry about all the complex paperwork and management behind the scenes. Just pull the trigger and let us do the administrative work. Welcome to shootingclasses.com.
At Center Shot Gun Range, we are passionate about training. Don't know where to start? We offer a 1-hour new shooter seminar to introduce you to the world of firearms and help you find training opportunities specific to you. Concealed carry, home defense, firearm safety, AR-15, private one-on-one training, custom training, or maybe you're on a security team looking to protect your church or business. We even offer weekday morning and evening classes. Center Shot Gun Range has you covered. Start your journey at centershotgunrange.com.
Firearms training should be easy. Instructors can focus on teaching and not worry about all the complex paperwork and management behind the scenes. Just pull the trigger and let us do the administrative work. Welcome to shootingclasses.com.
Attention business owners. Are you leaving your website open to security issues and hacking due to a lack of maintenance or overseas outsourcing? Don't let that happen to your business. Choose experienced U.S.-based website developers that can customize your website to fit your specific needs. Appletree MediaWorks has been growing businesses online since 2009. With over 80 years of combined experience, their team conducts constant research and development to keep up with ever-changing online threats. Your website deserves the best protection available. Call Appletree MediaWorks today at 877-977-1364 to keep your website secure and grow your business online. Or visit appletree.media.
Avoid danger, save lives, and keep your loved ones safe. If this sounds good to you, you sound good to me. And I'd like to help you do those things. Avoid danger, save lives, and keep your loved ones safe. If you're looking for more excitement in your life, we have nothing to offer you. But if you are a thoughtful, responsible, nonviolent man or woman, we'd love to teach you what to do if something crazy happens. More importantly, we'd like to teach you what not to do. We currently have over 500,000 members. They are doctors and single moms and firemen and grandmothers and veterans and Democrats and Republicans and members of every faith. But the one thing they all have in common is that they know exactly what to do if something crazy happens. When you're with one of our members, you are safe. Our members know how to de-escalate situations. They know how to calm things down. We are the United States Concealed Carry Association. See what we're all about at usconcealedcarry.com.
Discover the little-known backstory of the U.S. Concealed Carry Association at usconcealedcarry.com.
Some say his face is painfully ugly, and I agree. But who cares? This is radio. Welcome back to the Home Defense Show with Skip Correia.
And that was the beautiful and sultry voice of Golden Glenn, the official announcer of the Home Defense Show. Folks, we live in a dangerous world, and I want you to be able to protect and defend the ones you love. And that's why I have this show. It's my way of empowering you to accomplish one of your primary jobs in life. You are a protector and a defender. All right, listeners, before we get too far into the show, don't forget to check out our sponsors, United States Concealed Carry Association, shootingclasses.com, Center Shot Indoor Gun Range, and Appletree Media. Without our sponsors, this show wouldn't be on the air, so we thank you all. And now I want to welcome a friend of mine back to the show. He's the host and creator of the popular YouTube channel, Active Self-Protection. John Correia, welcome back to the Home Defense Show.
Well, thanks so much, Skip. Glad to be here.
Oh, it's awesome to have you on the show. So you're one of the guys that I regularly watch on YouTube. And I don't watch a lot of guys on YouTube, but I like watching you. I mean, the films and stuff that you do, the video analysis, all of that stuff, it's great. But one of the things that caught my interest about a month ago was your journey to physical fitness. And you know, it just seems to me, just from watching from a distance, right? It seems to me that you've had an up and down journey. Is that correct or not?
Well, I mean, yeah, obviously, I think it's so funny because people see, I've been making content every day on the internet for 10 years now. Mm-hmm. And people see this and they're like, man, you know, what the heck, you did Ozempic or something because, you know, you lost all this weight overnight. And I'm like, what are you talking about? It's been the last 20 months I've been working. And yeah, I mean, obviously, so I was probably at my best in the late 90s when I was an officer candidate in the Navy, and then I got in a car wreck and blew out a couple of discs in my low back, and that
Mm.
caused some trouble. And then when I got out of the Navy, obviously still struggling with back stuff. Went to graduate school while I was working full time, and that is a very stressful time. So put on a little bit of weight, got out of seminary, took some weight off, started martial arts training, those things. The stress of life came back again. I've got Northern European roots. I'm kind of mostly English peasant, but also Scandinavian. So I'm kind of a dwarven war cleric,
Hmm.
as my kind of default. And my genetic code says pack on pounds, so I did, and also sedentary lifestyle and stress and those things. So took when I quit my job in 2018, I decided, hey, let's get in some better shape. And I did some things in through 2018 and 19 to try to kind of get some weight off. Couldn't really sustain it very well. And then the pandemic happened.
Yeah.
And I was locked in my house and living a sedentary life, and honestly eating too much, and probably too much bourbon in the evenings too, and got really heavy. So I still doing some martial arts, still okay. My blood work looked okay, but I got heavy. I think I topped out somewhere close to 290 pounds, and I'm
Mm.
5'10", so that's a
Yeah.
pretty rotund frame. And then I just got tired of it. I got tired more than anything. My wife was concerned with how much I was snoring and
Oh, yeah.
having some sleep apnea problems. It gets tiresome. I make content on the internet every day, and people calling you fat, it doesn't
Hmm.
help things. That wasn't the reason I did what I did, but I just got tired of looking at, okay, what's it going to take? Eventually, I said, what's it going to take? Is it going to take the heart attack? Is it going to take the diabetes diagnosis? Is it going to take a major health scare? In order to decide to take it back. And I was in a better emotional space. I've been working very hard on my emotional fitness and my mental health. And so I just started a little thing that I call 31 medium. My running joke was, I don't know if you've ever heard of 75 hard. That's a program that some people do, that it's like 75 days and you're going to work out twice a day and drink a
Yeah.
gallon of water every day. And you got all these things you got to do. And if you miss a day, you start over from scratch, and it's going to be hard, but you're going to be better at the end. And honestly, I was like, man, I don't have the emotional bandwidth to do hard. Can I get like medium? And committing for 75 days felt like too much. What about this was July of 2023, and I was like, I'm home this whole month. I don't have any business travel. I travel a lot for active self-protection, but I didn't have any business travel in July. And so I was like, what can I do just for this month? And so I just made three goals. I said, look, three attainable goals that took like medium effort. And for me that month, I wanted to eat low carb because that had worked for me well in the past. I'm not doing that anymore, but I did that month. I wanted to get out for a walk every day, and I wanted to just limit my alcohol consumption. Those were my three goals. And not be a teetotaler, not quit drinking. I still enjoyed a bourbon on the back porch in the evening, but kind of limit that. And here we are on month 20 now. So, we started doing some of that, and then things have evolved from there. I mean, I did that for a month, and I lost some weight, and I felt a little better. So I said, let's run that back and do it again and see how that goes. And so we did it in August and felt a little better yet. And then after a few months of that, I started jogging again. So in 2010, my wife, 2009 and 2010, my wife really got into running. Like, she ran 3 or 4 full marathons. And
Mm.
and then 2010, I decided if she would run a half marathon with me, that I would run a half with her. And so we got into running, and I did like 4 half marathons, 2010 and 2011. Hadn't done one since. So I started just jogging a little bit because I like jogging. I kind of just like the rhythm of it
Mhm.
outdoors. So after Thanksgiving in 23, I started trying to kind of shuffle some of my walks a little bit. I'd lost, I don't know, probably 35 pounds at that point. So it's a little less hard on my joints, and enjoyed that, and kept doing my medium thing, trying to eat well and make good choices with food, and trying to minimize alcohol consumption, and started thinking about stuff like my sleep, my work stress, those kinds of things as well. I'd be remiss, Skip. I do have to say, I tell folks this all the time, about 8 months prior to this, I think getting me to the emotional place where I was ready to make a change, I finally had my testosterone checked, and my testosterone was super low. And I think some of that was work stress and life stress. But my testosterone was about 80, and the normal range is somewhere 350 to 950 is normally considered the normal range. And so I was like, I had the testosterone levels of an 85-year-old man. And
Wow.
yeah, right. So hey, no wonder I don't have any motivation. No wonder I don't
Right.
have
Yeah.
any drive to get out and work out. No wonder my joints hurt all the time. So I did go on testosterone replacement, TRT, and I'm under the care of a physician for that. I keep it in the normal band, and my physician lets me keep it kind of high in the normal band. He's like, how do you feel? We've kept up on that pretty well, and I respond really well in that kind of 700-800 range, 900 range even. And so he's like, hey, you're not having any of the negative consequences of it. All your other blood work looks great. Everything looks fine. You don't have any, behavioral challenges or anything reporting any negative effects. So if you feel good, you're in the normal band, carry on, get after it. And so I ran a half marathon in June last year. Enjoyed that, got out and just kept doing it. I just decided I was just going to just kind of run a little farther every day that I ran. I was running like 4 days a week and walking 3 days a week. Did run a half marathon, just kind of built up to that slowly. Took me about 16 weeks, a program that I ran. It wasn't a formal program. I didn't pay anybody for it or anything. My sister-in-law is a kind of a coach and does those things. So I was like, hey, coach, can you help me out a little bit with a little plan? And she helped me out, and my wife helped me out, and just got out there and started running. Enjoyed that. Ran it with two friends. Ran San Diego rock and roll half and enjoyed the heck out of that. And then kind of realized I was like, my wife works at the gym. My wife's a fitness instructor. And she said, hey, you can be my +1 on my gym membership for literally nothing. And that's, free 99 is a great price for a gym membership.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I decided, I'm going to try for 90 days and see about getting a little stronger. I could really stand to get stronger. I've never done really any weightlifting in my life. And so for the last almost 8 months now, I kind of transitioned into a weightlifting regime where 4 days a week I'm lifting, 3 days a week I'm rucking or occasionally jogging or walking. But getting in there and getting in the gym for the first time in my life, I've gotten quite strong. I'm probably as strong as I've ever been in my life, and built some muscle and got my body fat down to right around 20% now, which is pretty good. And I look good and I feel good. And so I'm about to finish month 20 of my 31 medium plan. And so now just fitness is kind of just part of my life every day. It's just who I am. It's been ingrained in my soul now, and I feel so much better, and I don't snore anymore. And, pretty much everything about life is better.
Well, when your wife is happier, you're happier too. That's certainly,
Amen.
Yeah. My wife and I, we had the discussion about snoring as well. And, we seem to have some similarities in our stories here. With the difference that I'm quite a bit older. You're what, late 40s?
Yeah, I just turned 49.
Okay, so you're 49. I'm 67, and so but my wife is almost 20 years younger than me. So it's like we're in different life stages. I mean, it's great. We've been married over 20 years, and everything's good there. We're happy, but the thing is, it was different for me. I mean, you mentioned the Northern European, but I'm like French, German, English background, so it's like, I'm tall for a hobbit.
Yeah.
But
11sies are delicious. Let's be honest.
That's right. That's right. And so, I went in the Marine Corps when I was 18 years old, but I weighed like 135 pounds. I was just skinny as a rail.
Me too.
3 months later. Yeah, 3 months later, I weighed 175 pounds. That was all from just eating and working out at age 18. Boy, I kept that up pretty good. I mean, I played soccer in college, and then at age 35, I started refereeing high school and college soccer, and I did that for 15 years. So basically all through my middle age, I was refereeing 200 soccer games a year. And that's what I credit to keeping my weight down. And that's the time when most men they're putting on weight because they have a metabolism change, right?
Right.
In your 30s and 40s. So that helped me out a lot. But then you mentioned you had you blow out some discs in your lower
Yeah.
back.
I'm
And
allergic to drunk drivers is what it is.
oh,
When
is
everyone
that
hits
what
me
it
with
is?
their car, I break out in herniated discs in my
Oh
back.
yeah. Well, the same thing happened to me at age 60. I ruptured a disc, the L23 disc in my lower back. That changed everything
Yeah.
because I gained in a year's time. I couldn't do anything, nothing physically. I could barely walk, and then I gained. Geez, it must have been about 15 pounds in that year. And coming back from that, I'm 60. It's been 7 years. I'm still struggling to come back from that. And what I've found is I can't run anymore. Even walking is bad for my knees because it's like there's almost 20 years difference between you and me age
Sure.
wise. And so I swim 4 days a week. And I've found out, man, that is the best thing that I've ever done. It's just for like 35 minutes a day, 4 days a week. I feel better. I'm taking the weight off now, and I've started to counting my calories. And you mentioned fasting.
I did fasting on my previous iteration, and then for the first maybe, gosh, almost a year on this time, I did some intermittent fasting. I used to do extended fasting when I lost weight in 18 and 19. I did a bunch of extended fasting. I was doing some intermittent on the beginning of this one. When I started lifting, I really changed how I eat. So I'm not a slave to anything. I joke that the current fad is carnivore. Like, how do you know somebody's carnivore? Gosh, man, they'll tell you. Boy, it's like CrossFitting vegans all of a sudden. It's the current fad du jour, and that's fine if it works for you, great. But I decided, hey, I work out in the mornings. I'm a morning workout guy. I don't do well waiting until the end of my workday to work out. I'm tired by then.
Oh yeah.
So I get up first thing and go lift, and I needed some energy for that. So I actually kind of have gone the other way. I'm eating 3 to even 4 meals a day now for the first time in my life. Trying to get really all I'm doing for eating right now is trying to maintain a calorie deficit and getting 200 grams of protein a day. And I don't really care other than that. I'll eat carbs. I like carbs. You got to keep them kind of moderate because you eat too many of them and you get too many calories. But that's all I'm doing right now and really enjoying it. And fasting worked for me in the past. Of course, if you eat no calories, your body's got to get energy from somewhere. And so that works really well for some people. And like I say, carnivore works well for some people. Keto works well for some people. Atkins works well for some people. I don't care. Veganism, hey, if it works for you and you can fit that in your mindset and in your lifestyle and it ain't hurting nobody else, I think, humans are basically like raccoons. We're just dumpster divers and
Yeah.
can get along on a whole lot of different options.
Yeah. Yeah. It's my life has changed a lot in the last 3 years. About 3 years ago, my wife and I, we converted to Christian Orthodoxy, and they are huge on fasting. And it's like, this is like serious fasting. And I'd never fasted before in my entire life. And that's something that I struggle with because it's like, they'll say, okay, for like 40 days, there's no meat, there's no dairy, there's no, poultry, that kind of stuff. And that's like, those are my staples.
Yeah,
Right?
that's hard.
Yeah, those are my staples. And so in order to get through the 40 days of fasting and try and feel good spiritually about myself, I reverted to like Twinkies, Mountain Dew,
Oh boy, yeah.
Doritos, because, that those were fast worthy items that I can eat. But man, it's like you come out of 40 days of fasting and you think, okay, I'm going to weigh less. Not when you do it that way. So,
Yeah, not so much.
yeah.
Obviously there's a difference between a fast with a spiritual motivation and doing that as a spiritual discipline and doing it as a health practice, and they can have some back and forth. But, I tell folks, it's like I had somebody ask me, I recently put a video up of kind of my weight transformation and what I've done. And somebody's like, John, are you doing a Bible study as part of that? And I'm like, well, I mean, I read my Bible every day as part of my spiritual devotions and my spiritual disciplines, but it's not health focused. I'm not doing that like, to remind me to lose weight. That's not why I'm doing it. So when you do it with different foci, you go, okay,
Yeah,
no, this is for part of my walk with the Lord. And so, all right, cool. We're going to do that. And those are for
yeah.
different benefits.
Well, one of the things that I like about, I just rewatched your video again this morning on like your journey through all of this, and you acknowledge that, okay, this is what I'm doing, but it may not work for everybody. You do what works for you, and I'm kind of utilitarian that way too. What works for me doesn't work for other people, and vice versa. There may be some similarities, but I'm optimistic, and
Yeah, I'm grateful for what I'm doing. I just tell folks, look, I'm not a fitness instructor. I'm not an exercise physiologist. I'm not a nutritionist. I'm not a medical doctor. I don't know what your limitations are. I don't know what your particular biological needs are. I don't know the best way for you and your body style to get active. And for me to give advice, one of the problems is I have a large social media following. And so people will listen to me on almost anything.
oh yeah, yeah.
They'll be like, what chocolate bar does John like? I'm going to get that one because it's got to be the best because John says so. And I'm like, dude, I have no idea what you should be doing. Please ask a qualified person and not me.
Yeah, yeah.
And I'll cheer you on. We have a fitness group for the company, the Active Self Protection Fitness Group, and I tell folks all the time, I'll cheer you on, man. I'm excited for you. When you're like, hey, John, what should I be doing X, Y? I don't know. I can tell you what I'm doing, but I don't know if that'll work for you. Like maybe it will, maybe it
Mhm.
won't, and maybe that's a bad idea for you. And so and I think there's a lot of ways to be fit because if you think about it, is a marathoner fit? Yeah, at one level. Is a strongman fit? Yeah, at a different level and in a different way. Well, which one's more fit? I don't know.
Yeah.
Or is a sprinter? Usain Bolt looks different than Kipchoge, in terms of their fitness and what they look like. Is a CrossFitter fit, or is it a Ninja Warrior fit, or is a powerlifter fit, a bodybuilder, a jiu-jitsu guy? They're different kinds,
Yeah.
So what do you want to be?
That's right. Yeah, and it's a lot about your goals, and certainly my goals at 67 are different than my goals at 49. At 49, I needed to be able to sprint with 18-year-olds, for like over a 2-hour period back and forth.
Yeah.
Now it's like I want to be able to bend over and pick up empty brass,
Right.
and just wake up in the morning without pain and be more
Mm.
flexible and be able to move, quickly and keep up with my kids and that kind of thing.
One of my favorite books on the topic, Dr. Peter Attia, he's got a great YouTube channel too, and I'd recommend it. But he wrote a book called Outlive. And it was an empirical study of 80, 90, and 100-year-olds,
Hmm.
octo, nano, and centenarians, about how did they avoid the four horsemen of death, right?
Oh, that sounds
How,
good.
how do they avoid the big four horsemen of cancer, diabetes, heart disease, and cardiovascular stroke, right? And so how do they avoid those four? And they found a lot of similarities. And his big thing is how do I match as close as possible my lifespan, whatever it is, but I don't want to have 10 to 20 years at the end where I can't do anything. I want my health
Yeah.
span to match my lifespan. I think about my CEO for ASP, Stephanie Widener. Her grandmother just passed away at 100 years old. And literally the morning she passed away, she was in her fitness class.
Oh, wow.
The morning she passed away,
Yeah.
like she had gone to her fitness class. And so you want to talk about as close to health span and lifespan
Yeah.
matching as possible. And it's just beloved woman who was who she was all the way to the very end, to 100 years old. And I'm like, that's what I want my fitness journey to be, for me
Yeah.
to be useful and around and aware for my family right to the very end.
Yeah. That's what I want too, John. I want to share with you one of my favorite verses in the Bible, Proverbs 27:17. As iron sharpens iron, so one man sharpens another.
Mm.
And that's the reason I called you and wanted to have this talk. Part of it was selfish because I need other people in the industry to encourage me
Sure.
and back and forth, vice versa. So I encourage you, and I hope you'll encourage me. And we just got to keep going because, man, life is long, and if you're doing it right, and God
Yep.
willing. But before we go, John, thank you. And will you please tell people how they can find out more about you?
Yeah, the best place is our website, activeselfprotection.com. You can find us on YouTube. Just search Active Self Protection. We have 2 YouTube channels. You can find us there. If fitness is a thing, we have a very encouraging group on Facebook. It is very creatively titled Active Self Protection Fitness Group. And if you answer the membership questions you're in, just recognize that's not a prescriptive group. It's not you got to do this thing. It's just an encouragement and I hate the word accountability, but a fun group to say, hey, here's what I'm doing to get fit, and I hope that you're doing it too. And we talk about those kind of big things, activity, food, sleep, stress, hormones, those things, and how to encourage each other to do the best we can in those. So that's how you can find me.
I think I should do that because I need the encouragement and I do need the accountability. I think we all do. But John, thank you very much for being on the Home Defense Show today.
Love to be here. Thanks so much, Skip.
All right. This is Skip Correia on the Home Defense Show. Coming up next, we'll get some expert advice on the details of self-defense in our shootingclasses.com self-defense report. All right, folks, during the break, I want you to log into rumble.com and search on the Home Defense Show. I've posted a series of entertaining and educational videos there just for you. Check them out. Don't forget to like, share, and follow. God bless and stay safe, because we will be right back.
Firearms training should be easy. Instructors can focus on teaching and not worry about all the complex paperwork and management behind the scenes. Just pull the trigger and let us do the administrative work. Welcome to shootingclasses.com.
At Center Shot Gun Range, we are passionate about training. Don't know where to start? We offer a 1-hour new shooter seminar to introduce you to the world of firearms and help you find training opportunities specific to you. Concealed carry, home defense, firearm safety, AR-15, private one-on-one training, custom training, or maybe you're on a security team looking to protect your church or business. We even offer weekday morning and evening classes. Center Shot Gun Range has you covered. Start your journey at centershotgunrange.com.
Firearms training should be easy. Instructors can focus on teaching and not worry about all the complex paperwork and management behind the scenes. Just pull the trigger and let us do the administrative work. Welcome to shootingclasses.com.
Attention business owners. Are you leaving your website open to security issues and hacking due to a lack of maintenance or overseas outsourcing? Don't let that happen to your business. Choose experienced U.S.-based website developers that can customize your website to fit your specific needs. Appletree MediaWorks has been growing businesses online since 2009. With over 80 years of combined experience, their team conducts constant research and development to keep up with ever-changing online threats. Your website deserves the best protection available. Call Appletree MediaWorks today at 877-977-1364 to keep your website secure and grow your business online. Or visit appletree.media.
Avoid danger, save lives, and keep your loved ones safe. If this sounds good to you, you sound good to me. And I'd like to help you do those things. Avoid danger, save lives, and keep your loved ones safe. If you're looking for more excitement in your life, we have nothing to offer you. But if you are a thoughtful, responsible, nonviolent man or woman, we'd love to teach you what to do if something crazy happens. More importantly, we'd like to teach you what not to do. We currently have over 500,000 members. They are doctors and single moms and firemen and grandmothers and veterans and Democrats and Republicans and members of every faith. But the one thing they all have in common is that they know exactly what to do if something crazy happens. When you're with one of our members, you are safe. Our members know how to de-escalate situations. They know how to calm things down. We are the United States Concealed Carry Association. See what we're all about at usconcealedcarry.com.
Discover the little-known backstory of the U.S. Concealed Carry Association at usconcealedcarry.com.
They say he eats crayons and his knuckles drag on the ground, but that's only half true. Welcome back to the Home Defense Show with Skip Correia.
And that was the beautiful and sultry voice of Golden Glenn, the official announcer of the Home Defense Show. And I'm your host, Skip Correia. Don't forget to check out our sponsors, United States Concealed Carry Association, shootingclasses.com, Apple Tree Media, and Center Shot Indoor Gun Range for all your training and equipment needs. And now it's time for our weekly self-defense report, sponsored by shootingclasses.com. And today we're speaking with firearms instructor Deron Boring from the great state of Ohio. Deron, thanks for coming back on the Home Defense Show today.
Good evening, Skip. Thanks for having me.
Well, I had to think twice about it, Deron. I mean, you did a great job last time on your analysis and all that, but I hesitate to have a guest on the show, who has a better radio voice than I do, just so that you know.
Thank you. I don't know quite what to say to that.
That is a compliment. That's a compliment. Especially if you're in radio, that's the best compliment that you can get. You have a great radio voice.
Oh, I'll take it. Thank you.
All right, then. All right, Deron, before we get going here, go ahead and just spend about 20 seconds and remind the listeners your credentials and what kind of classes you do, that kind of stuff.
Well, Skip, I'm an attorney by day, play college professor as well. And on the firearms side of things, I'm an instructor. I have my own training company, 1791 Training. Primarily, I do use of force law and other things like that. And while I'm a USCCA and NRA certified instructor, majority of the time in my classroom is talking about either concealed carry law or self-defense, lethal force law, and things like that. And I offer classes that are available through shootingclasses.com. And when I don't have anything planned right now, but when those are scheduled, you can find them there.
All righty. Fantastic. Good old shootingclasses.com. Deron, I'm going to pull up this article here. This article was just kind of, like the comedians, Steve Martin, just wild and crazy. I'll go ahead and read it, and then we'll get your analysis. Online date turns into ambush. Man beaten and robbed at gunpoint in Warren. Okay, that would be Warren, Michigan. An incident Monday morning near 12 Mile and Van Dyke turned dangerous quickly. Real early in the morning, like you've got to be suspect at best, Lucito said. There was a meeting arranged. When the individual went there, apparently two males robbed him. Warren police say the male victim was supposed to meet a woman at an apartment at 12 Mile and Lund. Once inside, he says she told him to wait in the bedroom while she was in the bathroom. Investigators say that was when the victim was approached by two other men and was assaulted and robbed. The suspects ran away. The victim climbed out of the window and called 911. He had to run for his life because of the fact that he was robbed, Lucito said. There appears to have been a weapon involved, a gun. Warren police say they saw the suspects run into a residence in the area and barricade themselves inside. The special response team forced themselves in, and four suspects, 3 men and a woman, were arrested. We'll know more to come, Lucito said. We're just trying to sort out right now how we can stop and prevent these measures. He said to encourage folks to proceed cautiously and not meet up at suspicious times of the day. Give a location, drop an online pin for your family, he said. You just never know what you're going to encounter. Now, that's crazy. So you got first crack at this, Deron. Did this guy do anything wrong?
Every possible cliche in the book came to mind reading this, and I certainly not going to call John Farnham cliche, but his rule of stupids came to mind first of all. Don't go stupid places with stupid people, stupid times to do stupid things, this checked every box on the list. I don't know what this guy was thinking or why you do that.
Well, I think I know what he was thinking.
Me too, but still.
Yeah. But I know this is a family show, but he was thinking with the wrong brain here. And but I read so many articles like this that I thought we should go over this. You couldn't pick a worse scenario to put yourself into. All of self-defense is scenario-based. All scenarios are extremely fluid and dynamic. They change from moment to moment to moment. But this one was pretty predictable. I know what he thought was going to happen. He thought he was going to enhance his love life here. But this is just a classic case of a criminal using a man's greatest weakness against him. But just go over some of these cliches. What are some of the specific things that he did wrong?
I guess, first of all, even before I get into some of the specific things he did wrong, I want to highlight some of the comments of the prosecutor. And the prosecutor's comment of, give a location and drop an online pin for your family. I read that and I thought that's a little bit late on all of those, because by the time your family figures out you're missing or something's happened in this, it just, I understand the sentiment of the advice.
Yeah.
But everything, I mean, it's over. Everything's over by the time your family figures out at 7:30 a.m. Bob's not home.
Well,
I mean, that's
well,
terrible.
And the thing that came to my mind immediately when I read that quote was, all right, I'm supposed to drop a pin so my wife can locate me in an apartment with another woman.
Oh, that's true.
It's like,
Oh,
all right, do you want to be robbed or do you want to be murdered by your wife? You choose.
Unbelievable. But I mean, if you actually look at what this guy did, I mean, and to use my first cliche in this is that nothing good ever happens after 2 a.m. And I realize that it actually happened at 1:30, but going out that late and intent of meeting up a stranger in a private place with a door locked behind you.
Yep.
I mean, that alone, male, female, that is just a bad decision the whole way around, no matter, gender, capability, firearm, no firearm, knife, pepper spray. I mean, you're just setting yourself up for massive problems. From the outset.
Yeah, there's nothing that this guy did right. And, you mentioned stupidity earlier, and, the phrase, play stupid games, win stupid prizes came to mind as well. But
and even from, I'll take another angle on it for just a second that, just crossed my mind. It's, even say he didn't get robbed, he didn't get beat up. I mean, just setting yourself up for accusations later from this female that decides later on she has some regrets. And I hate to go that way, but even that angle, again, I found myself again going, why would you do that? What are you thinking? I kept reading this saying there has to be something redeeming from this gentleman's behavior, and there's not.
Well, I'm sure this woman that he was with was probably a fine, upstanding woman. And, can you imagine her surprise when she walked out of the bathroom and he was gone? It's like, oh my.
And I have to think this was probably a setup. There's a part of me that even says, was this a setup? And you see those stories in the news.
Yeah. Yeah. I've heard one specifically where it was an online thing, and he gave the woman his home address, and she came and knocked on the door. He looked through the peephole, saw this beautiful, gorgeous young woman, opened up the door, and then the two men on the side of the door came in and just stomped the snot out of this guy and robbed him for everything he was worth. So, it could have been a lot worse for this guy. Man, he climbed out the window and called 911.
And I mean, it actually sounds like a bad Seinfeld episode or something like that.
Yeah.
I seem to recall a Seinfeld episode where something like that even happened once. And it just, and my last cliche, and again, I'm sorry for this, but it's just again and again, this is failing the victim selection process if I have ever seen it. I mean, this guy just volunteered himself for everything. And, and it's unfortunate because people don't think, and most importantly, I think people say, that'll never happen to me. And, you let yourself end up in a stupid place. And like you said, this guy was very lucky.
Yeah. Well, it was preventable. And, now that I scan through this, there is one thing that he did correctly. He did one thing right. He called 911.
Okay. Well,
that's the only thing that I can find that he did right. But and I don't know. I have my doubts about the prosecutor too, this Luchito fellow. I mean, just because the comments that he made in the context of what happened, they just don't fit. But
No,
well.
and you see that from prosecutors all the time, and you see that really from, police departments and everything else that encourage people, get a whistle, have this, have that, those things are
Yeah.
great, but most of those are after the fact issues, and
Yeah.
good planning and good decision making eliminates 90% of your problems in life.
For sure. Yeah. So basically, he's out at a time when he shouldn't be there, went to a place that he shouldn't have gone, and met with a person that he should have known better. Just dating apps, they I don't know. Anything online is just so scary these days.
And maybe I'm just showing my age, but even, I cringe at people buying things off of Facebook Marketplace and everything else. And the advice of go to the local police department is great advice, but even still, you're giving people contact information and everything else that they're really unknown people. And it makes me cringe.
Well, on the other hand, he gives us great fodder here on the Home Defense Show.
Sure does.
Because we can go over all the stupid things that they do. It was 3 men and a woman who were arrested by the special response team. So this is just job security all over the place. I mean, the cops had something to do now. This guy had something to do. The prosecutor now has job security. It's just all over the place. So have you ever had anything this crazy in your line of work as an attorney?
Something similar, actually, and it was actually very closely mirrored the story you told. That I actually knew an elderly gentleman years ago that befriended somebody at a local establishment of not great reputation, and bragged about his coin collection, and he lived right down the road. And I mean, unfortunately, it took several weeks of intensive care, but this gentleman unfortunately passed at some point in time. And it was because, again, he was bragging and her friends heard. And the only thing in that case, I'll tell you, the one, I shouldn't call it comedy, but what these guys got caught? They got caught dumping the coins into one of those Coinstar machines in a grocery store. And one of the police officers working security at 2 a.m. went, those aren't normal coins to run through that machine, and started asking questions.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, again and again and again, you see this happening of people. Unfortunately, I hate to say, lonely people putting themselves in a bad situation. And it's really unfortunate.
Sure. Well, and I'm not sure in this crime here, the 3 men and the woman, I don't think they were the sharpest knives in the drawer either, because they didn't go that far, and then they barricaded themselves into someplace. They must have known that they were going to be pursued or by the police. So they weren't the sharpest tools in the shed either.
No. And again, I'm going to guess this was so much of a traceable event through a dating app or whatever else, that this was just begging for problems with the address and everything. But again, my big takeaway from this is this guy was really stupid, and he was just as lucky.
Yes, that's right. If you're going to be stupid, be lucky too. I guess that's the moral of this story. If you're going to be stupid, be lucky as well.
Fortunately, you can't control the lucky part. So
that's for sure. Yeah. All right. Well, all right. We don't want to stab a dead horse here. So just folks, don't be careful when you're online. Don't meet strangers in unsafe places at unsafe times. If you're lonely, go to church and meet someone else who's lonely at a better environment, I guess.
Amen. And I'll close with this. And my best friend's dad always said, do you really want to buy where you're shopping? And I think that goes for this one very well.
I have never heard that one, but that is perfect for this scenario. It's absolutely perfect. All right.
Hey, thanks, Skip.
All right. Okay. Deron, folks can reach you at shootingclasses.com, correct?
Correct. And 1791 training at shootingclasses.com.
Awesome. All right, Deron, thank you very much for being on the Home Defense Show today. Good analysis.
Hey, take care. Thank you much.
All right, folks, that about wraps it up for this week's show. I've had a good time, and I hope you have too. Please don't forget to thank our sponsors, CenterShot Indoor Gun Range at centershotgunrange.com, shootingclasses.com to help you find the right trainer for your needs, Apple Tree Media for website security, and the United States Concealed Carry Association. For all your self-defense needs, go to uscca.com. All right, I've written 20-plus books, and they're all available on Amazon.com in paperback, ebook, and audiobook. This week, check out my novel, Bond of Unseen Blood. It's a great story about hunting and the great outdoors. And also check out the Home Defense Show videos on rumble.com. And if you want training from me in person, then check out Midwest Tactical Training at shootingclasses.com. Please join us again next week for all your home defense needs. In the meantime, God bless and stay safe.
Thank you for joining us this week on the Home Defense Show. Now, get out there and protect the ones you love. We'll see you next week with more of the best.
Bye-bye, boys!
Have fun storming the castle!